Hello there friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. Do you hate Rebel scum? Do you dislike those democracy-loving, republic-supporting tyrants who want to bring corruption and chaos back to the galaxy? And do you really want that shrill Lady Mon Mothma to come take away your beautiful 4x6 foot Duracrete luxury housing unit which gets sunlight from 10:27 a.m. to 10:28 a.m. every day? The answer is no. You love that sunlight. You love vitamin D on your face. Look, I know it's not easy being an Imperial, as the galaxy collapses around you because of economic decisions clearly made by the administration that preceded Emperor Palpatine, which is actually Chancellor Palpatine. So, actually the administration before that. They are the ones to blame. But yeah, I just want you to know, you loyal soldiers of the Empire, you are not alone in your suffering and your epic sacrifices. In an effort to make that impending doom you're feeling right now feel a little less terrifying, I'm going to go through some of the most heroic sacrifices made by Imperial personnel, both in the military and in the civilian sector. It's inspirational. You guys have heard of Vader's armor, Vader's lightsaber, and Vader's meditation chamber, where he totally doesn't go and be by himself so he can cry about Padme. But have you ever heard of Vader's shield? Well, not many have. And that's because it's more commonly known as Vader's Fist, or the 501st Legion. This stormtrooper unit is one of the most well-equipped and well-trained in the entire Empire. Personally loyal to their leader, Darth Vader, every member of the 501st is more than willing to give his life to make sure that the mission will be completed. During a routine negotiation mission at the Empire's largest weapons factory on Simon 1, while disembarking his shuttle, Darth Vader comes under fire from a rebel gunman armed with a bowcaster. This is an extremely high-powered weapon. It is designed to give individuals like Darth Vader a bit of trouble. Even with that lightsaber, it is pretty hard to deflect these bolts. Now, Vader does manage to catch the first one with his red lightsaber, but luckily, before his defenses were compromised, several brave stormtroopers voluntarily threw themselves in front of Vader, intercepting the bolts that would surely have killed him. The 501st is known for their fierce combat abilities, but on that day, they proved their undying love and loyalty to Darth Vader. Awesome. Scarif might seem like a tropical paradise, and that's because it is one. It's absolutely beautiful, and therefore only the best and most talented social climbing Imperial officers and enlisted men get stationed on this very important world where the Empire hides its most secret projects, far away from the pesky eyes of the Galactic Senate. Fortunately, Scarif's location is top secret. That keeps the base relatively safe from incursions. Therefore, the Scarif garrison's low theater readiness is counteracted by just how many elite units are on this planet. And wait till you see their gym. It has a panoramic view of the atoll, and they also have refrigerators stocked full of energy drinks. And the commander of this garrison, General Satoris Ramda, was so experienced that he was now preparing for a well-deserved retirement. When the rebel infiltration unit Rogue One attacked Scarif, well, the high command was a little bit unprepared.
Are we blind? Deploy the garrison! Move!
But luckily, there are so many stormtroopers stationed on this facility that eventually some of them ran into infiltration teams and started engaging in chaotic firefights without any coordination all across the base. This most likely created a sense that there were far more rebels on the world than there actually was. I also wouldn't be surprised if some Imperial troopers started firing on each other because of all the confusion. Which is like better than training. These brave and resourceful Imperials would fight until the very end, knowing that the secrets of this base can never fall into the hands of the rebels. Ultimately, Grand Moff Wilhelm Tarkin would honor the Scarif deployment and their leader, General Ramda, with a single reactor salute from the Death Star, just to make sure. Overall, tens of thousands of Imperial personnel perished nobly to make sure that the secrets on Scarif remain hidden. And even if the rebels did manage to steal something from the Battle of Scarif, I'm sure it's like inconsequential. The galaxy is a pretty scary place. You have all sorts of factions, organizations, criminal enterprises looking to hurt you, the law-abiding, tax-paying Imperial citizens. As such, the Glorious Empire has a massive network of corrections facilities to contain and potentially rehabilitate these rough characters through unpaid labor. The Narkina 5 prison complex is just the latest in prison design, and thanks to a very innovative electrified floor design inspired by Palpatine's own fascination with Sith lightning. The Narkina 5 facility requires less than a fifth of the staff you would normally need. Of course, that's as long as the floors stay electrified. Given the ridiculous ratio between guards and inmates, should the security system go down, then you can expect all the guards to die in a very heroic and gruesome way. Which I'm sure is exactly what they wanted when they signed up for this job. Jedha City has always been a hive of villainy, a wretched city full of cultists, superstitious Force believers who want to go back to the days when the Jedi lorded over the common man like feudal kings. Jedha stands in the way of progress. It is standing in the way of all the modernization that the Empire is trying to bring, like clean and renewable energy from kyber crystals. Kyber crystals that were selfishly hoarded by the Jedi over the decades so that our scientists couldn't unlock its many energy-amplifying secrets. The Imperial operation to mine and collect kyber crystals was constantly under the assault of Saw Gerrera and his partisans. His men had a massive underground cache of stolen crystals, which unfortunately became unstable, causing the entire planet to crack open. Luckily, Imperial Command was able to withdraw troops from Jedha before the planet completely collapsed, and it was a pretty successful operation because only 3% of the Imperial forces were left on the planet as it imploded, making this one of the least costly missions in the sector. We often forget that during the transition period from Republic to Empire, it was the old clone troopers that kept the galaxy safe, while the stormtroopers were still being designed and trained. This is a difficult time in the galaxy. You still had separatist holdouts, you had, bandit and pirate attacks on all of the peripherals of the Empire, and a lot of these outposts were completely undermanned, like the Imperial Depot on the ice planet of Barton 4. Captain Mayday and his squad of clones were deployed to this facility, a task that usually took at least an entire company of men to do. Captain Mayday's unit would fight until the very last man, and luckily, right as Captain Mayday perished, Imperial reinforcements arrived under the command of Lieutenant Nolan. Nolan would also perish while securing the base from unknown hostiles, but ultimately this mission was successful, and all those supplies paid by you, the taxpayer, were secured. There will be many medals passed all around after this incident. Ultimately, we are grateful for the sacrifices of all the clones, especially individuals like Captain Mayday, who went all the way. May he rest in peace, knowing that all of his clone brothers will be taken care of once they retire from service. By now, I'm sure you've all seen the horrific images coming from Gorman after rebel agitators attacked Imperial troopers there, igniting a large skirmish in the center of Palmo that left hundreds wounded and dead. This incident all started when a group of young and heroic Imperial Army troopers led by Sergeant Bloy attempted to navigate through a crowd of angry and heavily armed Gorman thugs. Without provocation, one of Sergeant Bloy's men was hit in the head by rebel blaster fire, which of course ignited the entire plaza into violence. Bloy's patrol was completely wiped out. Many of his soldiers were new recruits, completely green and innocent. Their sacrifices will not be given in vain, and that is because their deaths have revealed the true vicious nature of the rebellion. It's not just soldiers who stand on the front lines of the war against the rebels. The very nature of the rebellion's corruption means that there are no front lines, and that rebel ideology can strike and be found everywhere. Therefore, even workers in the Empire's military-industrial complex have to be on guard for potential rebel saboteurs and accelerationists. As happened on Lothal when a Jedi extremist alongside an escaped rebel commander previously detained by the Empire infiltrated the city's fuel depot. Their goal is most likely to sabotage the operations there, but Governor Inda Price actually quickly beat the rebel scum to it and ends up destroying the entire fuel depot by herself, so that they can't. Price's quick thinking resulted in the death of a Jedi, and yes, the destruction of Lothal City's fuel depot is a huge step back for the local Lothal garrison and probably all the people who worked inside the plant as well. But I'm sure if they were given the chance to talk, which they can't now because they've most likely succumbed to their burn wounds, that they are proud to have given their lives to the fuel depot, for the fuel depot. The Empire doesn't just push ahead in the realm of industry and military expansion, it also is a firm believer in the sciences, as long as the science nerds don't contradict what our glorious Emperor says, of course. During the early Imperial era, the Kyber Crystal Clean Energy Initiative was probably one of the most important projects in the entire galaxy. Led by the brilliant crystallographer Galen Erso, his team were the brightest and the best in their individual fields, and together, they developed a reactor that could actually amplify energy that is shot into it. This was all done for peace. This was a peace reactor. Thanks to the Kyber Crystal's amazing properties, their discovery would bring prosperity to the entire galaxy, providing unlimited clean energy to the entire Empire. Unfortunately, as the research team was in the last phases of finalizing their reactor design, a rebel squadron bombed the energy conversion laboratory located on Yadu, killing the entire team. This group of scientists will be remembered as heroes of the Empire. Thanks to their invention, overwhelming amounts of energy will spread from Yadu all the way to Alderaan. In the last year of the Galactic Civil War, the Imperial military stretched across several theaters. The conditions on the battlefield continued to worsen for the average Imperial trooper. Yet the Imperial Army continued to trudge ahead and fight bravely, now with the help of specially trained ISB political officers who usually cover the rear of the formation with an E-web cannon. For the safety of the men, of course. During the operation on Burnon, an important mining world, the local inhabitants, in an act of desperation while fighting the Empire, triggered a massive explosion that destabilized the planet's tectonic plates, and as a result, 10,000 Imperial Army troopers perished in a huge lava flow. I'm sure these brave men and women rest in peace now, knowing that Burnon is so freaking pacified that not even weeds can grow on the planet's surface anymore. The future Imperial Leaders Military Preparatory School on Vardos was one of the premier education facilities in the galaxy. Here, the smartest and most skilled Imperials could apply for different types of programs that can fast-track them directly to the field. Unfortunately, in the last days of the Galactic Civil War, a cataclysmic superstorm hit the planet randomly, destroying many population centers. Ultimately, most of the planet's population was destroyed. Help from the Imperial Navy could never come because it was most likely tied up in neighboring sectors fighting off Rebel Alliance advances. The planet of Vardos would turn into a tomb. Its beautiful cities turned into ash. A most undeserving end for some of the most loyal individuals in the Empire. Which is why loyalty is not something you should freely give to other people. For many of us, it's the most important and precious thing that we own. And so, you give those kind of things to your family. You give it to your friends, maybe to your community, but maybe not to anything larger than that, especially a faction or organization that you don't really understand. Because loyalty to the wrong thing can get you into a lot of trouble. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. As usual, my name is Alan, reminding you that my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy. I'll see you next time.